Well, welcome, Andrew Brill, to the Gas Compression Podcast. I'm really excited to have you on.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, something that comes up time after time, and everybody we talk to is, what about the next generation? What are we doing to train people and get them ready to go out and work in this industry? So Andrew is the director and
instructor
of the Natural Gas Compression School at CPI. And where exactly, you're in Pennsylvania, but where is that located?
We're located, technically it's Pleasant Gap, but we're near the State College area of central Pennsylvania.
Okay. Well, that's going to be what we talk about today, but I always want to find out a little bit about your backstory. So tell me how in the world you ended up where you ended up.
Oh, it's been a trip. So my career started as an auto technician. Then I transitioned over to busing, so school buses and charter buses, and then got involved in propane school buses. And then one day my wife goes, "Hey, there's this CNG mechanic position for Love's Travel Stops." And I was like, "Well, I don't know." She's, you can do this. So I applied for it and ended up being a technician for a while, and then a supervisor for Trillium. They're now Trillium fuels now, but they were CNG then, so compressed natural gas. And I was responsible for about 16 CNG stations for what they called the PennDOT P3 project. So we were building CNG fueling facilities and for public transit all across PA. And then I worked for Clean Energy for a little while, and then one day, the job I'm at now kind of just fell in my lap, so to speak, and here I am.
Now, now here in Texas, the CNG thing, there are a few gas companies that run around, and some of their trucks, their 3/4 ton trucks will be CNG, but as far as infrastructure, we don't have that. I mean, that's not something common here. Is that big in Pennsylvania?
We're doing okay. So part of the P3 with Trillium was building public and private access CNG stations. So we built one here, and I live in Johnstown, Pennsylvania. So we built one here. We had one down in York. So where the larger city centers were. And then Clean Energy, they were working on some public access as well. We had one in Bellefonte, which is actually right down the street from my school. Mm-hmm. So it's out there. And but really the CNG works really well for fleets. So you're coming back to the same place every night. Right. And we're talking about busing, it just makes sense.
Right.
So it's all there. All the fuels are already there waiting for you.
So it kind of seems like I don't feel like we're going to see cars running up and down the road on CNG. Often, do you?
It comes down to government support. I think if CNG were given the same amount of incentives and publicity as EVs, we would see it. If it's big overseas and it's cleaner than diesel and gasoline. Mm-hmm. We have the technology now. We can build it now, but we just don't have the support. Mm-hmm. That would be a big advantage.
Okay, so that takes us to being a natural gas compression instructor at CPI. So how long have you been in that role?
So I'm new to the role. I started in March of this year. So I've been working very hard to kind of grow the program. The program's been there since about 2017. But really just trying to get the program out there as a household idea for something that children could go and young adults can go do. It's when we think about someone that's good with their hands, they want to go be a technician or a tradesman of some sort. They think about auto mechanics or diesel or auto body or HVAC, stuff like that. That's just kind of out in the public ether. But compression's not that. Mm-hmm. It's not compression changed my life. I mean, I was a car mechanic. I was making bubkis, struggling, and then I found compression, and it was like day and night. So that's I don't know. I have a very strong passion for this because I've lived it. I've been on both sides. And so yeah.
Okay, so the program started in 2017, and one of the really unique things about your program is that it's a very specific cat aerial training school. In fact, it's the only one in the country. Is that right?
Correct. We are the only. So we're sponsored by Cleveland Brothers Caterpillar
Mm-hmm.
and Aero Corporation. So in Pennsylvania, became a very large gas producing area during the shale, right? Marcellus Shale and Utica. With all the newer packages that are being placed, vast majority of them were Caterpillar and aerial packages. They go together like peanut butter and jelly, right? So, it just made sense.
Right.
And we've had a lot of support from, alumni that graduated from CPI trying to get it there. So we're very, very unique, and I feel very lucky to be in the position that I'm at.
Now, did it start out that way? Did the school launch in 2017 as a cat aerial school?
Yep, it's been like that since day one.
Huh. So I'm wondering how, I'm thinking about other people across the country, let's say in Wyoming or even in South Texas or something. Do they just get aerial's aerial? Do we know where they are? They're in Mount Vernon, but there's, they're Caterpillar, different dealerships. Like in our area, it's Warren Cat. In your area, it's Cleveland Brothers. So who started that process? Was it the alumni? Was it Cat? Who approached who and said, "Hey, let's do this cat aerial school"? How'd that happen?
Randy Federoff. He's a corporate recruiter and trainer for Cleveland Brothers. He decided they felt that we needed to do this.
Okay.
So he pushed and we talked to Ariel. I guess coming into this, there was a lot of stuff that happened before me coming on board.
Mm-hmm.
So, one thing is, I believe in Ariel as a product. Mm-hmm. They build very good compressors.
Absolutely.
And, you can go to other schools. There are other compression schools out there, right? There's I've listened to your podcast before. You have Okmulgee. There's one in El Paso, Midland, all that. But we're the only one that teaches specific aerial curriculum.
Yeah.
You get the same training, the same material as you would if you would go to Mount Vernon, Ohio.
Oh, wow. Okay.
My students graduate with an aerial basic 1 and 2. So they leave with aerial certifications.
Man.
We're the only one. Yeah, that's a massive bonus. That's your baseline going out into the field. You can go back to aerial for some of your specific stuff like vibration analysis and stuff like that, but you leave CPI with a excellent foundation. Plus, we're in, it's an associate's degree, so you're getting gen eds in there too. You're getting your math, tech writing. We have physics and a CDL. They graduate with a Class A CDL.
Man, you
get a lot of bang for your buck.
That is impressive.
Yeah. So, and I mean, if he gives you that extra chip in your pocket, like, oh, we need this moved here. Can you need this taken here? I can do that.
It also equates to earning potential. I mean, a mechanic's a mechanic, but a mechanic with a CDL is worth a little bit more,
But I told my guys, we're not mechanics anymore. We're technicians.
There you go.
We're not working on a car or a truck anymore. We're working on very specific and expensive equipment that you need to carry yourself in a way that you need to be a professional.
That is, man, that's awesome, Andrew. Language matters. It really does. And title, and that's
how you carry yourself. I mean, you're not just a grease monkey, so to speak, right? You're trained, you know what you're doing, So exactly. I mean, I feel like that sort of, carrying yourself that way kind of helped me get where I was. I mean, I went from mechanic to supervisor in 6 months at Trillium. So, I mean, I saw the need, you step in and you get it done. Right. Yeah. So, I think the attitude is super important. You got to put yourself out there and do the right thing.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about your students. How many, so this is October. Now that I'm out of school, I forget where we are in the school season, but this is October. So we just started. Do you follow the fall and spring schedule like a normal
Yeah, right now our classes started on the end of August.
Okay.
They run. So what we do is between it's 2-year program. So between first year and second year, excuse me, the students go out on an externship, a paid externship. So we have partners that we work with at the school. For example, like K&R. Let's see, Deering, Williams, USA Compression,
Mm-hmm.
and we're always looking for more. So, if anybody.
And so maybe we can get some more. Tell me what that looks like. What are you looking for in partners that are
I'm looking for
and what do the students do while they're there?
We're looking for they'd just be treated like a technician. So they need to go, they're required to go and interview. It's not like we're handing them a job.
Mm-hmm.
They need to go do it. They need to go find the company they want to work for in our list of partners, interview, and get the job. It's just like you would like when you graduate. It's paid. So they're going to work the summer doing whatever they need to get done. And then from there, then they're evaluated by their supervisors to say this is what they're doing, this is how they're doing, this is what they could improve on. And then it really gives them a good idea and foundation when they come back for the second year to what to expect. And they kind of have and they actually makes them really jazzed. They come back, they're excited. They actually I don't want to come back. I want to keep working. I'm like, no, calm down. There's time for this. This is school. Let's come back. Let's get this finished up. And then you can start your life. 2 years is nothing.
Right. Hopefully they're coming back with a lot of questions.
Yep. Questions. And they're coming back with, hey, I saw this. What about this? Can we, so it's really good. I like seeing that I guess this not as they sparkle, but I'll find the word, but the excitement, I guess.
Yeah.
That. The excitement for the industry and all the things that they see when they're on the road. I mean, I had one student that this year he graduated this past summer. He had never left PA, and now he's sending me a picture of Mount Rushmore.
Oh man, that's cool.
And he's like, I just wanted to go see it. And I'm like, that's awesome. So they can see the country. There's lots to see out there.
So I'm assuming, let's say they're in school for a year, they go to USA Compression and work for the summer, come back and graduate. If they did what they were supposed to, they can go right back to USA Compression and say, now I'd like a job. And I'm sure USA Compression would be like, yeah, you know what? We enjoyed having you. So come on.
Yeah. No, I mean,
it's a really
every
good fit.
One of my students that want an externship is working. Everybody has a job.
Man,
and it almost awesome. 95% it leads to a job always.
Yeah.
And we've had some of our partners step up to sponsor tuition. So, hey, we'll give you X amount of dollars if you sign an agreement to work for X amount of years. So it's a two-way street, right?
Yes.
It really leads to a lot of great opportunities. I wish this had been around whenever I was in my, whenever I was younger. It's great.
That is. Anybody out there that's listening that is in that position that has a fleet of compressors, please reach out to Andrew. Let's get some more partners for you.
We're looking, I would say that we're looking for people that have Caterpillar engines and aero compressors, so what we're teaching applies and they're experienced and they're ready to go. It's great. I gotta say it.
So what is enrollment looking like right now? How many people do you have?
Total right now we have 6.
Okay.
COVID hit us pretty hard because, so to speak, we gotta, like I said before, we couldn't really go out and do recruiting. Right. We couldn't go out to the high schools. We couldn't go to career fairs. We couldn't have open house. We couldn't have anything. Yeah. So to speak, the pipeline wasn't packed. We have to go out now and pack the pipeline to get the kids keep coming in. I mean, it's an amazing program, and it really, anybody that get in the door and show it to them, like, they get interested quick. I have a really nice shop area. I have 3 compressors for training. Mm-hmm. I have 2 3300 series engines, 135 and 134. Mm-hmm. So I have the pretty good range, depending on what I can get in the door. I'm not
Right.
going to put in a 3600 through the door.
Right.
But we make sure that they're comfortable with your common maintenance procedures. So when they go in, they're not going to be, questioning, oh, what do I need to take off? What do I need to do? So I try to balance theory and hands-on the best I can. Because I mean, at the end of the day, it's a compressor and engine is a puzzle, right? But you don't know why you're putting it together, or what you should be doing is half the battle.
Yeah.
So making sure they know what they're doing and why is my focus.
How many can you have if you were, what would full capacity for this program be per year?
It would be, so it's a 2-year program. So it would be 15 per cohort. So it would be 15 for the first year and 15 for the second year. So totally it'd be 30 if you were talking total group. But that's my goal, get her filled.
Cool. So who are you seeing apply? Like, are you seeing mostly young men? You got half and half, got some girls in there are they coming right out of high school? Are there 30-year-olds coming in saying, I want to make a career change? Who are the people that are applying now?
Mostly high school males, guys that I've got a lot of students leaving the diesel program, like high school VOTEC diesel programs, heavy equipment, stuff like that. So our plan with that CPI is we're going to start bringing in some of our high school, like automotive kids, and have them come over to my area for a day, half a day, just to kind of show them around so they get them interested. Because like I said, they don't know what it is. They just look through my door and there's a big blue and orange thing, right? Big blue and yellow. They don't know what it is.
Yeah.
So when we start talking about it, they're like, wow, this is really cool.
Yeah.
And especially when you start looking at, compressor, they're like, oh, well, how does this work? How does this work? And you take the time to explain, like, wow, that's really neat. So that's getting that spark is the key,
Okay. What does the program cost?
Right now, it's right around 30,000 for 2 years.
Okay.
Which
and
is
I'm sure, like you said, there's
financial aid, grants. We have an excellent financial aid department. They're 100%. And I tell my students the first day, if you come in and give me 100%, I'll give you 110% every day. You get in what you get out. So whatever you put in, that's the key. So I said, our facilities are there to make sure you succeed. And, I've told my students when they graduate, if you need anything, you have my cell phone number. I'm there. If you need to make a couple phone calls, you want to looking to make a change, you have a question, I'm there. Especially a lot of, we all, compression is a very small group. We're a very tight knit group. We all know each other.
That's right.
Especially, and the CNG world is even smaller. So, we can all use those connections we have to get anything done. We're all in this together.
Well, I love that makes a lot of sense. The price of that school versus pretty much what you're going to be making when you get out of that school makes a lot of sense versus the traditional 4-year general studies degree and then go get a whatever job, so I applaud all the trade schools that are doing things that just make sense. They just make economical sense. Like that's a great price for a job that you'll make more your first year than the school cost.
Yeah, no, I understand. The trade school I went to was kind of the opposite of that in the beginning. But the earning potential is huge. And I think the parents, when you start explaining that to parents, like your son or daughter can make X amount of dollars in the first year, they can't, they're just like at the eyeballs, right?
Yeah.
And then that the degree program, having a diploma at the end saying I completed this 2-year degree for a parent is huge. You have that forever.
So let's talk about the program itself. I just was looking on the website earlier about just the classes that are going on. How much of it is, we all know that it's better to have your hands on things, but it's also very important, like you said, to understand why we're rebuilding this engine. What is it supposed to do? So how much could you give a percentage on theory versus classroom?
So I'll say aerial is very theory heavy, because they're mechanically assembling them is not hard.
Right.
But I guess the finesse and of doing it correctly is where it's at. So I would say right now it is, if I were to put a number on it, I'd say it's actually right about 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it just depends on what we're working on.
Mm-hmm.
But so like if I were to walk you through a day, usually we'll have.
Walk me through a day.
So depends. So my first year, so if you're coming in as a new student, what we have introduction to natural gas engines and software. So we have that one is pretty much 80% theory. We talk about the differences between natural gas engine versus diesel, the fuel, the chemistry, the major difference between burning a gaseous fuel over a liquid fuel, spark ignition versus compression ignition. Then we'll start talking about, since we're backed by Caterpillar, they have access to Cat Sys, so Caterpillar service information.
Oh yeah.
So they have access to the exact same material that you would if you're working for the dealer network. And then we work on Caterpillar ET, which is their software, their scan tool software. So they have access to that. So they will be proficient in that when they graduate. Then we start doing, then same thing with aerial, we have introduction. So it's really kind of an organic process through, we've had students come to the program that have never worked on their car. So we can take someone that has never changed oil on their car to being able to do a major overhaul. So anyway, I kind of keep getting off topic here.
No, that's cool.
But we'll have a theory in the beginning. We'll have a lecture on something, and then usually we'll go out to the shop to try to put our hands on it for those people that are more of a hands-on learner. And our classes run usually from 8 a.m. to about 4 p.m. And we usually run 4 days a week too. So we leave them to have their 3-day weekend. So if you are still working during your time in school, you have that time to go work.
Do you see that as kind of what most people do?
Yeah, a lot of my students actually they work on their farmers.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of kids that are dairy farmers actually, so they need that day to help the family out.
Mm-hmm.
So we'd like to give them that.
So is it forbidden for bringing a different compressor in your shop other than aerial? Do you even talk about?
There's no other compressor than aerial.
The old. Now, that I would say, here I'm in the Panhandle of Texas. We do work in the Permian Basin, so we're, in the Permian Basin. I agree. You don't see a whole lot, but in our area, in the Panhandle, Southwest Kansas, some of that old iron's still out there. Mm-hmm. But I guess you guys aren't even attempting to talk about it.
So I'll say this. I think if you can successfully overhaul an aerial compressor, you'll be able to handle just about anything that's thrown at you.
So I guess some of the older stuff is just being upgraded with new panels, and so it's going to be all pretty much the same. I know in theory it works the same, but
yeah, I mean I'm not saying it's all just nuts and bolts, right? But if you understand the theory of compression and the math to an extent, you can walk onto a skid and understand what's going on. Mm-hmm. Listening to Curtis last week talking about high, lubrication systems, I consider myself very lucky that I'm able to teach the aerial high pressure lubrication to my kids. Mm-hmm. So they can walk onto a job site and know, hey, we really should be changing that. We really, those like he said, those parts are forgotten about way too much.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure my guys have the ability to walk onto a job site and be that guy that, hey, we need to do this.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
What kind of jobs are you seeing? I guess you haven't been there but since March, but what kind of jobs are you expecting these guys to take right out of school? I mean, are they just hiring on as technicians at service companies or production companies, or are they going right into, manager roles, or what do you?
With them being so young, they're going on as technicians, mostly for like third party, doing major overhaul. Because like that's what the need is right now. So, but I think having this training allows them to be able to step into fast track them into a manager role if they desire it enough. Because I mean, being in a manager position with just in CNG, it's very demanding, and they need to want it. Mm-hmm. The needs out there, and these kids, if we can get them in the door, I get phone calls about once a week from companies. Hey, do you have any students that need jobs? And I'm like, I got the other problem. And you had to send me kids to make technicians. So we've had some interest internationally too. We've had a couple. We've had a gentleman from the UK that wants to come next summer. So we're starting. That's kind of a thing coming down the pike.
All right.
So, yeah.
Do they have to supply their own tools?
No. We supply. I'm well supplied in the shop area. Right. My toolboxes for aerial are the exact same toolboxes that they have at Mount Vernon.
Oh wow!
It's the same tools, same everything. I mean, same thing with Caterpillar. And if I ever need anything, I know that Cleveland Brothers and Ariel is a phone call away.
So you just communicate directly with Ariel and say, "Hey, I need."
Yep, I send
XYZ.
Yep, I send. I mean, I was just at a Cleveland Brothers ET class yesterday with Caterpillar technicians. I mean, and I spent a week at Ariel over the summer working with their corporate trainers because they said they consider me a part of the Ariel family. I just happen to work in Pennsylvania.
Right. Nice.
So, I mean, that's what kind of support I've received, which is huge. Yeah. And even whenever I was gone at class, their corporate trainers in Mount Vernon hop on a WebEx with my students to do the class that I was planning to do. Yeah. So, yeah. And they supported me last year. Well, when I came on, so, this is my first job as a teacher. So they sent the gentleman, Guy Hager, who taught me compression, to help teach my class. So I mean, they're in it 110%, and so is Cleveland Brothers.
Well, how in the world can we help you get 11 more? You need 11 more students to be full. How do we? I mean, what can we do to help? I mean, other than just kind of getting the word out.
Getting the word out. If there's any, I think my biggest thing I need to do is get into like high school shop classes, get into high school VOTech automotive classes, and just tell them about it. I mean, it's not a hard sell, right? Really not. It's just getting the word out. If there's, all the people that listen to the podcast, if they know, like, their niece or nephew wants to do this. Hey, well, I heard about this school. I mean, really, it's just getting on top of a mountain and telling everybody about it. I mean, we're CPI as a school even has tons to offer. So we have a oil and gas certified welding program even. So, I mean, we do a lot, heavy equipment. So it's just telling as many people that'll listen.
That's awesome. Well, this is something that comes up every single podcast about training, and it sounds like we found someone who's I feel like doing it right. I mean, you're
Thank you.
you're focusing very heavily on what the market is doing, which is cat aerial packages. You got it priced you got it priced right. You got partners with aerial and cat. I mean, I can't imagine that. I just don't know what else you could do differently or better to get people prepared for a career in the industry. So,
Yeah, I think we, as a service supervisor in the field, and just real world experience, we try to make sure that we teach them what they need to know,
yeah,
and they're ready. And I mean, I know what I was looking for in a technician whenever I started, and what kind of qualities that a good entry level technician would need. And so I
mm-hmm.
work really hard to make sure that my students, when they graduate, have those qualities.
Mm-hmm. So if you're in the Pennsylvania area and you have a fleet of cat aerial compression, then that's also be someone that could reach out to you and say, hey, we'd love to entertain hiring some interns, right?
I mean, we hire students not so much Pennsylvania. I mean, we're not trying to pigeonhole ourselves. I mean, most of my students this past summer for extern were in West Texas and New Mexico.
Really?
I mean, yeah, most of them. So, yeah, I mean, they were in West Texas. I mean, I hear you guys talk about Carlsbad, New Mexico. I
Yes.
know my one student was there for about a month. So,
Awesome.
yeah, no, they traveled. I mean,
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I think I make sure whenever I'm telling the students about the program that are interested, that travel is part of the game.
Right.
They need to understand that also this is like your time to do it, right? If you're young and you're single, now it's time to go have an adventure, right? Go. So
that's exactly right. That's cool. So if you're anywhere,
make a pile of money while you're doing it too.
there you go.
That's a plus.
That's awesome. So yeah, if you are out there and you have a fleet of cat aerial packages in the US, then reach out to Andrew. Andrew, so the website's cpi.edu, but if people want to reach out to you directly, how would they do that?
We have my email is on the website.
Okay.
So I think it's my school email is abrill@cpi.edu.
Mm-hmm.
And I think even if you call the school and type in extension 236, you'll get my desk phone.
Awesome.
So, I mean, it's, just give me a call.
All right. Well, thanks for your time and for championing a great training program that we all know is very, very necessary. So great to have you on, Andrew. I hope to hear from you in the future.
All righty. Thank you so much for your time.